Someone is standing at the edge of eternity right now, holding a wedding ring, and they have been waiting for just one moment alone with you. Not your pastor, not your friends, not your family, just you. This is not a love story about another human being. This is a message from the God who made you, who chose you, who has been chasing you across every broken season of your life. If you have ever felt like love has failed you, if you have ever looked at a ring and felt pain instead of joy, if you have ever wondered whether you are truly wanted by anyone, stay right here, because what I am about to tell you will rearrange something inside of you forever. Before we go further, if this channel has ever given you something real, something that hit different at 2 a.m. when you could not sleep, something that made you feel seen when the world made you feel invisible, please subscribe right now. Hit that like button and drop a comment below telling me where you are watching from. We have people watching from places you would not believe, and every single one of them needed this today. Now let us go deep. The image of someone holding a wedding ring, wanting one moment alone with you. That is not just a poetic idea. That is the spiritual reality of who God is toward you right now. In the book of Hosea, God describes himself not as a distant judge, not as an angry ruler on a cloud, but as a husband who has been betrayed, who watched his beloved walk away, who was publicly humiliated, and yet he did not give up. He did not walk away. He stood there, holding the ring, waiting, and Isaiah 54:5 says this: "For your Maker is your husband, the Lord of hosts is his name." Read that again. Your Maker is your husband, the one who spoke galaxies into existence, the one who painted the northern lights before you ever saw them, the one who calculated how many hairs are on your head this morning. That God is calling himself your husband, not your landlord, not your boss, not your judge, your husband. And right now, he is holding a ring, and he wants one moment alone with you. Let me explain what this means psychologically first, because most people skip the mind when they talk about God, and then they wonder why they can hear sermons every Sunday and still feel empty on Monday. The human mind is wired for attachment. This is not a religious concept. This is neuroscience. From the moment you were born, your brain was searching for one thing: a secure attachment figure. Someone who would be there when you cried. Someone who would not leave when you were difficult. Someone who would look at you at your worst and not flinch. Psychologists call this a secure base. And here is the devastating truth for most people. Most of us never got that. Some of you had fathers who left. Some of you had mothers who were physically present but emotionally absent. Some of you were raised in homes where love was conditional, where you had to perform to be accepted, where mistakes were punished and vulnerability was dangerous. And so your brain, that brilliant, adaptive, survival-driven brain, learned to cope. It learned to put walls up. It learned that love is not safe. It learned that people who say they love you are one bad day away from leaving. It learned that needing someone makes you weak. And so you built a version of yourself that does not need anyone. You became the strong one, the independent one, the one who handles everything alone, the one who says "I'm fine" when they are absolutely not fine. And then you wonder why intimacy feels so terrifying. You wonder why even when someone good shows up in your life, something inside you sabotages it. You wonder why you can be surrounded by people and still feel profoundly alone. This is not a character flaw. This is a wound. And wounds need more than willpower to heal. They need the right kind of love. Now here is where the psychology and the spiritual collide in a way that should shake you. The attachment wound you carry, the deep hunger to be truly known and truly loved, was never meant to be fully satisfied by another human being. I said what I said, not because people are not important, not because relationships do not matter, but because no human being has the capacity to be your everything. Every person you have ever loved is carrying their own wounds, their own fears, their own unhealed places. And when two wounded people try to heal each other without a foundation, they do not heal, they blade on each other, and the relationship becomes a cycle of need and disappointment, of highs and crashes, of love and resentment. This is why so many people get married and still feel alone. This is why people have hundreds of followers and still feel unseen. This is why people go from relationship to relationship, searching for something that never quite arrives. Because what they are actually searching for is God. They just do not know how to say that yet. And God, that patient, relentless, ring-holding God, has been standing in the wings the whole time, watching you look everywhere else, not with condemnation, but with something that looks a lot like longing. He wants one moment alone with you, not because he needs your worship to feel good about himself, not because he is running some transactional religious system, but because he created you for intimacy with him. And watching you starve for something he is offering freely is not something he takes lightly. Let me take you into the story of Hosea more deeply, because most people have heard of it but do not understand what it is actually saying. God tells the prophet Hosea to do something that sounds absolutely insane. He says, "Go marry a woman who will be unfaithful to you." Not a woman who might be unfaithful, a woman who will be. God told Hosea in advance, "This woman is going to break your heart. Marry her anyway." And Hosea obeyed. He married Gomer. He loved her. He built a life with her. And then she left. She went back to the lifestyle that had marked her before. She became so broken by her choices that she eventually ended up on an auction block, being sold as a slave. And God came to Hosea again and said, "Go get her, go buy her back, bring her home." And Hosea went. He paid the price. He brought her home, not because she deserved it, not because she had proven herself, not because she had cleaned herself up and become worthy. He brought her home because love is not a transaction. And God says to us through this story, "This is how I feel about you. You are Gomer. You have wandered. You have given your heart to things that have not satisfied you. You have gone back to habits and patterns and relationships that you knew were not good for you. You have stood in places where your worth was being auctioned off to whoever would give you the most validation. And I came to get you. I paid the price. And I am still standing here, holding the ring, asking for one moment alone with you. Now let us talk about what that moment actually looks like. Because I know some of you are thinking, okay, this sounds beautiful, but what does it practically mean for me to be alone with God? I am not going to give you a religious formula. I am not going to tell you to do a 40-day fast if you do not even know where to start. I want to talk to you about something simpler and far more radical. Honest stillness. The moment God wants alone with you is not the moment where you perform perfectly. It is not the moment where you have the right words. It is not the moment where you have figured out all your theology. It is the moment where you stop running. The moment where you sit down, wherever you are, and you say out loud or in your heart, "I am tired of pretending. I do not have it together. I am scared. I am lonely. I am angry. I am confused. And I do not know if you are real. But if you are, I need you to show up for me right now." That is the moment. That raw, unfiltered, unreligious moment of dropping the mask. That is what he has been waiting for. Because God does not fall in love with your performance. He already knows what is behind it. He falls in love with you. The real you. The one you are afraid to show anyone. The one that cries when no one is watching. The one that still feels like a child sometimes. Scared and unsure. He sees that person and he does not look away. He leans in. And this is psychologically significant because think about what happens to a person when they experience that for the first time. When someone finally sees all of you and does not leave. When you are completely exposed and instead of judgment you receive love. Something heals in you that no therapy session could reach. That no relationship could touch. That no achievement could fix. There is a part of the human soul that is only accessible through encounter with the divine. And the encounter is not complicated. It is intimate. It is personal. It is one moment alone. I want to talk to you about what the wedding ring means spiritually. Because this symbol is loaded with meaning that most people miss. A wedding ring is circular. There's no beginning, no end. It represents a love that does not stop. A love that does not have an expiration date. A love that does not run out when you run out of good behavior. The love God has for you is circular. It does not start when you get it right. It does not end when you get it wrong. It is not contingent on your spiritual performance or your moral resume. It simply is. And it always will be. A wedding ring is also a public declaration. When someone puts a ring on your finger, they are saying to the entire world, I chose this person. This is my person. They belong with me. And when God holds that ring toward you, He is saying the same thing to every spiritual force that has ever told you that you are not enough. Every voice in your head that has ever called you worthless. Every person who ever made you feel like you had to earn your place in this world. He is saying, this one is mine. I chose them. They belong with me. Not because of what they have done, because of who I am. And a wedding ring is also a covenant, not a contract. There is a critical difference. A contract says, I will do my part as long as you do yours. A contract has an exit clause. A contract is based on performance. A covenant is different. A covenant says, I am bound to you regardless. In the ancient world, covenants were sealed with blood. They were unbreakable. They were not dependent on emotion or circumstance. They said, even if everything falls apart, I will not walk away. And the covenant God made with you was sealed, not with an animal sacrifice on an altar, but with the blood of His own Son. That is not a polite religious gesture. That is the most radical act of commitment in the history of the universe. He did not just say, I love you. He bled for you, and He is still standing there, holding the ring, asking for one moment. Let me talk to you now about the people who are watching this and who have experienced the trauma of a broken covenant in human relationships. Because I know some of you are here. Some of you have worn a ring that ended up meaning nothing. Some of you made vows and had vows made to you that were shattered. Some of you loved someone with everything you had and watched them choose someone else. Or something else. Or nothing at all. And that experience has not just broken your heart. It has broken your theology. Because if the people who were supposed to love you unconditionally could not do it, how do you believe a God you cannot even see is going to do it? This is one of the most honest questions a human being can ask. And I want to honor it with an honest answer. The reason human love fails is not because love itself is a lie. It is because human beings are finite, wounded, self-protective creatures trying to do an infinite job. The love you were looking for in those relationships, the all-encompassing, never leaving, always choosing, totally knowing love, That love was never a human invention. It has a source, and when you encounter the source, everything else rearranges itself. People often ask me, how do you get healed from a broken relationship? And I say, you do not heal by finding a better relationship. You heal by finding the relationship underneath all relationships. The one that was there before the first human ever loved you, and will be there long after the last human forgets you. God does not require you to have your heart fully intact before you come to Him. He is actually drawn to the broken pieces. There is a scripture that says He is close to the brokenhearted. Close, not distant, not watching from a safe observatory. Close, like a husband who comes and sits beside his wife, who is crying on the bathroom floor and does not say anything. Just puts his arm around her and stays. That is the image of God that most religious systems do not give you. They give you a God of power, which is true. They give you a God of justice, which is also true. But they forget to tell you about the God who sits on the bathroom floor with you. The God who holds the ring with such gentleness that He will not force it on your finger. He asks, He waits, He wants the moment to be yours as much as it is His. Now I want to speak to someone very specific for a moment. Someone who has been doing the Christian walk for years. Going to church, reading the Bible, serving in ministry, doing all the right things, and yet feeling like something is missing. Feeling like you know about God, but you do not know God. Like there is a glass wall between you and the real thing. And you are exhausted from pressing your face against that glass and wondering why you cannot get through. What you are experiencing is the difference between religion and relationship. Religion is the performance. Relationship is the moment alone. Religion says, do these things and God will be pleased with you. Relationship says, come as you are and let me show you who I actually am. The wedding ring image breaks through religion completely. Because you cannot perform your way into a marriage. You cannot earn intimacy. Intimacy is chosen. It is given. It is received. And the moment you stop trying to earn it and just receive it, something in you shifts. The striving stops. The exhaustion lifts. Not because your life suddenly becomes easy, but because you are no longer carrying it alone. And this is where we need to talk about what happens after the moment alone. Because some people have an encounter with God, a genuine, life-altering, soul-opening moment. And then they go back to their lives and slowly let the noise crowd it out. The moment alone is not meant to be a one-time event. It is meant to become a lifestyle, a daily returning, a daily choosing. In marriage, the wedding is one day, but the marriage is every day after that. Every morning you wake up and you choose to love this person again. Every hard conversation is a choice to stay. Every moment of forgiveness is a choice to keep the covenant. And your relationship with God works the same way. The encounter is the beginning, but the walk is the life. And the walk does not have to look like waking up at 5 a.m. and doing a 2-hour prayer session. For some people it looks like that, and that is beautiful. But for some people it looks like sitting in your car before you go into work and saying, God, I do not have anything today, I need you to be enough. It looks like pausing in the middle of a hard conversation and just breathing and saying, help me. It looks like gratitude for a sunset, or honesty in the dark, or asking a question you are afraid of the answer to. The walk is just the continuation of the moment. And every time you come back, He is still there, still holding the ring. Not frustrated that you took so long. Not keeping score of how many times you walked away. Just present, just waiting, just loving. Now let me talk about what this ring holding means for how you see yourself. Because one of the most destructive spiritual lies on this planet is the lie that says, I am not the kind of person God would pursue. I have done too much. I have gone too far. I am too broken. I am too messed up. I am too complicated. I am not religious enough, smart enough, clean enough, good enough. And I need you to hear this with everything inside of you. That is not God's voice. That is the voice of the adversary. The voice of shame. The voice of every person who ever rejected you, speaking through a theological mask. Because the God of the Bible does not pursue the polished. He pursues the lost. He does not chase the ones who have it together. He chases the ones who are running. He does not go to the places where everyone is comfortable and well-dressed and performing well. He goes to the places where people are desperate. He goes to the tax collector who everyone hated. He goes to the woman at the well who had been through 5 failed marriages and was living in shame. He goes to the man in the cemetery who was so broken he was cutting himself and screaming at night. He goes there. He goes to where you are. Not where you wish you were. Where you actually are. And he shows up holding a ring. And he says, "Come away with me." In the Song of Solomon, which is a book that most people are too religious to read properly, God through the allegory says to his beloved, "Arise, my love, my fair one, and come away." Come away. Not come and clean yourself up first. Not come when you have gotten rid of all your bad habits. Not come when you have your theology right. Come away. Now, as you are. Because I want you. Not the version of you that you think I can love. I want the version of you that exists right now in this moment. That is the invitation. And the invitation is still open. It has been open since before you were born. It will be open until you draw your last breath. But every day that passes is a day you are choosing to live without what has been offered to you freely. And I am not saying that to create guilt. I am saying that to create urgency. Because you and I both know that life is not getting longer. And the noise is only getting louder. And the hunger inside of you is not going away. It is just getting masked by more scrolling, more numbing, more achieving, more performing. And somewhere under all of that is the real you. Sitting quietly, waiting for someone to come and find them. He found you. He is here. He is holding the ring. He just wants one moment. Let me talk about what happens in the brain and in the spirit when you actually surrender into this love. When a person experiences genuine unconditional love, not the theory of it, not the concept of it, but the actual felt experience of being loved without condition, the brain begins to rewire. Neurologically, the amygdala, which is the part of the brain responsible for fear responses, begins to calm down. The nervous system begins to regulate. The constant low-grade anxiety that most people walk around with begins to quiet. Because anxiety at its core is the expectation of abandonment. It is the body's way of bracing for the moment when the love stops. When the person leaves. When the approval is withdrawn. And when your brain encounters a love that does not leave. A love that cannot be withdrawn because it is not based on your performance. Something begins to heal at the neurological level. This is why people who have genuine spiritual encounters report feeling peace that they cannot explain. They are not making it up. They are not just having an emotional experience. Something is actually changing in the architecture of their nervous system. And spiritually, when you accept the covenant love of God, when you say yes to the ring, something happens in the spirit realm that is just as real. The access that fear and shame have had to your soul is revoked. Not because you suddenly become perfect, but because you are now living inside a covenant that is bigger than your imperfection. You are covered, not in the sense that you get to sin without consequence, but in the sense that you are no longer defined by your worst moments. You are defined by His love. and his love never changes. Let me speak now to the person who is in the middle of the worst season of their life. The one who is reading this and thinking, if God loves me the way you are describing, why does my life look like this? Why am I still in this situation? Why has this prayer not been answered? Why did this marriage fail? Why did this child struggle? Why did I lose this thing that I prayed so hard for? This is the hardest question, and I am not going to give you a cheap answer. I am not going to say, God has a plan, so just trust and smile. That is not enough for real pain. Real pain needs a real answer. Here is what I know. The God who holds the ring is not unfamiliar with suffering. He did not come to earth and float above the pain of human experience. He entered it. He experienced rejection. He experienced betrayal by people he loved and trusted. He experienced the feeling of crying out to his Father and feeling like the sky was silent. From the cross he said, my God, why have you forsaken me?" That is not a triumphant declaration. That is the cry of a soul in the deepest darkness. And he said it. He went through it. He knows what your darkest moment feels like. Not theoretically, personally, and the God who went through the darkness and came out the other side with the keys to death in his hand. That God is saying to you in your dark season, I am with you, not watching from a distance, with you, in it, carrying more of it than you even know. And the ring he holds does not look different because of your pain. It does not dim because of your questions. It does not crack because of your anger at him. He can handle your anger. He is big enough for your doubt. He is patient enough for your process. And he is still there, waiting for one moment. Now I want to close by walking you through what that moment looks like practically. Because I do not want you to leave this video with beautiful language and no next step. I want you to do something right now, or tonight, or the first quiet moment you can find. Find a space where you are alone, not performing for anyone, not praying because someone is watching you pray. Just you, and be still for long enough that the noise starts to settle. It might take a few minutes. The mind is loud. Let it be loud. You do not have to silence it. Just sit in it until the layers start to peel back. And then, from the most honest part of you that you can access in that moment, say something real. It does not have to be eloquent. It does not have to be long. It does not have to sound spiritual. You could say, God, I have been running. You could say, God, I do not know if I believe in you the way I am supposed to. You could say, God, I am angry at you and I do not know what to do with that. You could say, God, I am so tired of being alone in this. You could say, God, I want what you are offering, but I am afraid to receive it, because everything I have ever received has been taken away. Say the real thing, whatever the real thing is for you. And then be quiet, and let him respond. Not in the way a movie makes you think he will respond. Not with thunder or a booming voice or a vision. He might speak through a feeling of peace that drops into your chest without explanation. He might speak through a thought that enters your mind that sounds like something no one has ever said to you before. He might speak through tears that come from a place you have not been able to reach in years. He might speak through a scripture that suddenly means something different than it has ever meant before. He might speak through the stillness itself, that rich, weighted stillness that feels like someone is present even though no one is in the room. He is there. He is always already there. He was there when you did not know his name. He was there when you were angry at the very idea of him. He was there when you were at your lowest point and could not imagine anyone caring. He was there. He is there now. And he is holding the ring. And he has one request. One moment, alone, With you. Just you. Not the version of you that you present to the world. Not the version of you that you think he can love. The actual you. The scared one. The tired one. The one who has been searching in all the wrong places for the thing he has been offering all along. That is who he wants. That is who he came for. That is who he bled for. That is who he is waiting for. So wherever you are watching this, whatever time it is, whatever state your heart is in right now, let this be the moment. Not one day when you get it together. Not when you have cleaned up your act. Not when you feel worthy. Now, say yes to the ring. Let him have the moment he has been asking for. And watch what he does with it. Because when God gets one honest moment alone with you, he does not waste it. He rebuilds. He restores. He renames. He does not just fix the broken thing. He makes it into something better than it was before the breaking. That is who he is. That is the love that is being offered to you right now. And it is not going to run out. It is not going to give up. It is not going to walk away because you waited too long or doubted too much or sinned too deeply. It will be here tomorrow if you need more time. But I am praying that something in you says yes today. Because you have been hungry long enough. You have been searching long enough. You have been carrying this alone long enough. Let him in. He is already at the door. He has been knocking for a long time. And he is holding the ring. And he loves you, more than you have ever been loved by anyone. More than you have ever loved yourself. More than you have any framework to receive right now. But he will teach you how to receive it. If you just give him the moment. If this touched something in you today, I need you to share this video with someone who needs to hear it. You know exactly who I am talking about. The friend who has been running. The family member who has been searching in the wrong places. The coworker who has been wearing a smile over a storm. Send it to them. Be the hand that holds the ring out to someone else. Subscribe if you are not subscribed. Hit the like button. And drop a comment below. Tell me what you received from this today. Tell me the moment that hit you. Tell me where you are watching from. Because this community is one of the most powerful things I have ever been part of. And every comment you leave becomes a testimony for someone else who reads it in a moment of darkness. We are in this together, and he is not done with any of us. Not even close.